Welcome to The Funniest Thing.
Yes.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Yes, it does.
I'm Darrell.
I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from beautiful.
What studio are we in?
Oh, we're in CHOBO Studios.
From beautiful downtown Van Nuys.
I forgot where we were.
Yeah, right? Not the first time.
I know. So, Ed, what's going on?
We always want to thank our Patreon folks. Thank you for contributing to the show. So helping us stay afloat over here in CHOBO Studios. Not just stay afloat, but thrive over here. And so we appreciate you. If you want to contribute to the show, not CHOBO Studio. I almost said Patreon.com.
You can rent the studio at CHOBO Studio.
Yeah. If you want to go to the studio, that's CHOBOstudios.com. If you want to support the show, it's patreon.com/funniest thing. It's really easy to make monthly contributions for as little as much as you want.
Yes.
And the beauty is when you circulate money, it circulates back to you, magnified and multiplied, especially when you're supporting things that you love. It's so true. The more I give to the things I love, and the more it really just, it's magical the way to free myself from that burden of scarcity regarding money. It's amazing how this stuff works. So if you want to contribute to the show, patreon.com/funniest thing. Patreon is Patreon.
Yep.
We want to thank our listeners, all of you, for tuning in, sharing the show. If you tune in on the podcast and you haven't taken the time to give it a rating, 5-star rating, the review, we appreciate that. You can also find us on our YouTube channel, Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed.
Yeah, because that makes it easier for people to find us.
Yeah, so subscribe and like there. Comment if you hear something that you like. Comment on the show.
We will get back to you.
Yeah, so this week, where are the postcards? Here we are. So we got, okay, so first of all, if you want to send us anything through the mail, Funniest Thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. We got a miracle postcard. Tell us about this, Darrell. What happened?
Okay, so one of our fans, Lois Conklin, she actually makes these postcards herself. The artwork goes like this. There you go. 2 leaves. If you're on YouTube, you could see it. And what was amazing was I got this postcard in the mail in our P.O. box. I pull it out, and all of a sudden I go, what the? The postcard made it to our mailbox. Lois is probably finding out now, because we're on the air, that she forgot to put a stamp on this postcard. There's no stamp, nor is there any indication of any glue or if there ever was a stamp. And neither has it even been postmarked. And it got us all the way from San Andreas, California, into our P.O. box. It was incredible. I mean, isn't that amazing how when you're sending things of appreciation, even if it's in thought, it always will make its way to the recipient.
Yeah, that's so true. That's a great lesson from that. Yeah, and she said, Lois said, "Hi, Darrell and Ed, listen to you every week. Such a blessing to laugh, pray, learn with you and your guests. Love the Godzilla book. Stories are great. Keep on writing. You're good at it. I painted a fall postcard for you too. Love you two both, or love to you both. Excuse me, Lois Conklin." And then there's a quote here from Rebecca Conklin, or written.
Oh, that's by her. I'm assuming that's her daughter.
Oh, yeah, I think it says written. From Rebecca Conklin. It says, "You cannot change yesterday, that is clear, or start on tomorrow until it is here. So all that is left for you and me is to make today as sweet as can be." Oh, my God. Thank you so much, Lois. We appreciate you and Rebecca.
One last thing about postcards. Now, Lois made this little homemade postcard for us, but I learned 36 years ago one of the great tools to really transform your life and relationships you have with others, especially now that we have such, texting. It's so easy to text people. But 36 years ago, before texting, Mike Dugan, my mentor, suggested I send postcards because I was stationed far away from where I grew up, to the people in my life that I either formerly had resentments against or the ones that I may have felt embarrassed and ashamed to face again. And just start sending them postcards. And what's great about a postcard, it's not a boast card, B-O-A-S-T, because there's not enough room to brag about yourself on the back. There's just enough room to say something positive.
Yeah.
Because basically a postcard is really saying it's an act of love. I'm thinking about you. And all you need to say on the back is just remember, I hope this is going well in your life. We have the attached mics, so when I pull mine close, Ed goes far, and when he pulls his close, mine goes far.
They're not actually attached. They're just bumping into each other at the moment.
So you could just say something as simple as one sentence like that, and when you mail it off, the magic happens. As you're writing it, you're thinking wonderful thoughts about these people. Then as you send it in the mail, you're imagining this love moving towards that person. And then the real magic is the delight of wondering of them being blessed by it when they receive it. And everybody loves getting mail now because
that's true.
Mail is so rare except junk mail. So getting something that's not junk mail, it's such a wonderful surprise. So I highly recommend it. I still do it. And matter of fact, that leads us to these.
Yeah, we got a couple of postcards from Kirk Chelson in Germany. Sent us a few fun ones over here. You can see them on YouTube if you're tuning in. And Kirk has become a master at putting something funny on one side and something upliftingly wise on the other side.
Yes.
And so one quote is from Neville Goddard. Oh, is that because they keep bumping? They're not actually attached. So, but that is
this
something.
known as bumping uglies?
I'll come in there and fix it.
All right. So the quote on this one says, it's from Neville Goddard. Your outer world is only actuated inner movement, and it says, what does it say? Let me
repeat myself.
Oh, let me repeat. Your outer world is only actualized inner movement. And then we have another quote from Neville Goddard that says, the spinning of the bridge between desire, thinking of, and satisfaction, thinking from, is all important. We must move mentally from thinking of the end to thinking from the end.
Yes.
You can experience what you please once you realize that you are its son. What? You are his son. And that you are what you are by virtue of the state of consciousness from which you think and view the world. So that's another Neville Goddard. So that means, what does that mean, Fazaro?
It means what we're seeing with. I'm not seeing it. It's almost like I'm seeing through my own perspective.
Yes. And it's very important because the vibration at which you're vibrating, the lens through which we're looking, magnetizes to us certain things in the environment and repels other things. We find what we're a match to. So if we're in an optimistic, supercharged state of mind, that's all we're going to attract to us. And that's the kind of world we're going to live in. And that's the day we're going to have. Whereas if we're feeling sort of repulsive, if you will, and not feeling less than good, we're going to be repelling everywhere we go and find more evidence of why things are not good.
Really? So if you're feeling, if I'm a frowner, my life's going to be a downer?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Good.
I'm learning as
well
we go,
said.
Folks.
Yes. So Cathy Norman, of all people, loved the last show. Always entertaining and enlightening. Michael Schoonover said, another fantastic, informative, and healing truth show. You two divine pros. The show's etheric vibration is flooding this holy world's consciousness, and it will never be the same again.
Wow.
Keep being the etheric light of truth. You know what? We just booked him for the October 29th recording show. So Reverend Michael Schoonover will be coming back on to blast you into the fifth dimension. So watch out for that. In the meanwhile, check out the website, darrellanded.com. We want to thank our chief engineer on the audio side of the tracks. He's in Kansas City. His name is Jeff Comfort.
And each week,
he takes us right into the comfort zone. Yes. We also want to thank chief engineer Indy Fawcett. How are you, buddy?
Thank you, guys. Love you. Doing well. I always love it.
Yeah, look at that CHOBO Studio beauty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to check out CHOBO Studios, you come to chobostudios.com and record your podcast. He's also got PodShuttle.io where he'll edit your reels and podcast up for you. So check him out. All right. We got some great reels out this week. So let's shout out to the prayer line, a.k.a. Silent Unity. And so our friend, I'll give you the number. It's 800-NOW-PRAY, 800-669-7729. They also have an app, the letter U, the word pray. So we have a friend named Howard Rankin.
Yeah, because last week when we talked about the prayer line, we let people know that they could just press the number 2. If you, on the You Pray app, or if you call directly, it gives you an option. If you don't necessarily want to speak with a live person, you can press 2 and you'll hear a recorded meditative statement.
So I was meditating in my car on my lunch break, and I was listening. I have all my affirmations. Whenever I hear someone asks about something, or if I hear someone's going through something, I'll add their name to a note on my phone, which is all affirmative statements about things and people and about things in my life. And so when I nap in my car, I put on the air conditioning, I press select all, and have my phone read me these affirmations back while I'm napitating, so that it refreshes my brain in a far more effective way than just a nap, which could end up be just like spinning on the same thoughts. This like totally is like driving my mind through the car wash. And I had one about Howard Rankin, and so I just sent him a text, and then he said, "Good morning."
Well, and Howard Rankin was a guest that used to contact us all the time years ago.
A listener, not a guest.
A listener.
Yeah, he's never been on yet.
Yes, he felt like a guest.
I know,
we would
right?
Hear from him very
yeah,
often.
because we would have talks. Darrell and Ed and Howard, we'd talk on the phone, and so he said, "Good morning. I forgot to tell you that even though I'm going through a rough time, I still kept listening to the You Pray message every morning." And I think that's what we're talking about. You call him up and press 2, and it's a recorded prayer. So every morning he listens to that. That's been my routine before I get out of bed. What a great idea. I wake up, grab my phone, and launch the app. I'm so grateful for you and Darrell. God bless you guys, and I can't wait for the day we finally meet. Well, we appreciate you. You know what? That day, the funny thing was, like, because I heard his name, and some reason he like came through my head so strong. And what I ended up actually texting him, what came through me was just to remind him, the answer is always love. Be kind to yourself. That's the first step. And he was blown away. He's like, "Whoa, how did you know I needed to hear that?" You know how you get these ideas. So that's the other thing. Anytime you feel inspired, it feels so good to pass on these messages to other people.
I just did that today. And it's funny because you almost feel like embarrassed. Should I send this? Should I not send this?
Right.
But now we don't argue with a hunch. We say, especially if it's a loving hunch.
And the good thing is when you're sharing universal messages, you're never going to be off.
We're not talking about, I got the urge to share my truth with that person. No, we're not.
Yeah, that's called sticking it to him. We're not talking about sticking it to him.
We're not talking about the hunch to punish someone.
Right.
We're talking about the hunch, like a joyful, loving hunch. So I had one this morning. I read something in one of our morning readers, Deep Breath of Life, and it had to do with, love for someone who has passed away.
Right.
And it was very positive. It was a very positive writing. And a friend of mine who I went to high school with, of all things.
Right.
A couple of months ago, and she's also been listening to our show recently.
Uh-huh.
She was also a cheerleader, folks.
Ooh la la.
So she, her father passed, who I became friendly with later on in his life, and not too long ago.
Yeah, right. I think we read a message from her recently on the show.
So this morning I had the hunch to send her that, and then part of me goes, "Oh, that's." The bad voice, the voice that, because it feels bad, "Oh, that's weird. Why would you?" And you know what? I just throw that voice out the window, and I did the same thing. I took a photo of it and said, "I was thinking about you this morning when I read this morning and thought of you." And that's enough. And I just send it.
There you go.
Hope you're well. And that's it. And man, who knows what that's going to do or what that's going to lead to, but I'll tell you what, it just puts another seed of love out there in the universe, and it also helps me become more confident in trusting my intuition, the voice of God within, instead of going, no, that's silly.
That's correct, because that's the only real way to tap into what
Yes.
God has in mind, what life really has in store for us is through that voice. So let's get on with the show. Today's show is called Just Tell Me What You Want, what you really, really want, with Unity Minister Cathy Norman. Whatever your need is, be extravagant in your request. There's no virtue in suffering. The universe's response is always yes. Being wishy-washy in our prayer request will not bring the desired results. God wants you to be happy, ridiculously happy. So tell him what you want, what you really, really want. On this episode, Darrell and Ed encourage listeners to go for it. Don't be afraid to ask. And during the second segment, Unity Spice Girl, Cathy G. Norman, spices things up with today's daily word, which is thoughts. This is very, very exciting.
Can we do the breaths already? I'm dying to do these breaths.
Yes, let's get to it. Let's take a deep breath.
Wait,
clear our mind.
I got to make sure.
We got it. You're the one who came up with them for
I came up with them, but you know me.
Yeah, Darrell has a very eclectic taste in music. You never know which bands are going to really be like, yes, this is amazing.
Man,
or no, that's crap. But this is one that ranks high on this list.
You know what's funny? A lot of people don't realize this. You know, you hear a lot of things saying, oh, yeah, you know, religion is sexist. Well, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
New Thought, the New Thought movement was primarily women.
Right.
Women were driving this. The New Thought leaders that really pushed this movement ahead, it was all women.
Yes.
You know, so these women, I think there was 5 of them. It was a group of women, 5. Wasn't it 5? 5 ladies?
I don't really know. I never followed them too much.
I loved them.
You led me
It was
in.
5.
I know. Why are you playing coy? You probably have a poster of each one of them on your wall for
But
crying
I
out
wasn't
loud.
a little boy. I was in my 30s.
No, I said, why are you playing coy? I said.
Oh, I'm not coy.
I don't know. Were there 5? I can't quite
No, because I
remember. Then
forgot.
you're like,
Well, because I had to think of the.
You know darn well.
Okay,
All right,
there's
let's get it
5,
going.
folks. So this is one of their greatest affirmations, and we're gonna.
Okay, let's take a deep breath.
Am I gonna do it first?
Sure, yeah. You're excited. Let's do it. This guy's jumping out of his skin, and you know he's excited.
am I going to do it first?
I don't know.
Okay,
if I'm gonna-
Darrell,
I
you
want
can
to make
go
sure
first.
I don't mess it up. 'Cause it's so good.
I know.
Okay,
I'm
ready?
glad you said that. Let's take a deep breath.
Wait. I wanna. I wanna really, really, really wanna zig a zig.
I wanna. I really, really, really wanna zig a zig. I wanna really, really, really wanna zig a zig. All right.
Thank
Good.
heaven for little girls. I feel great now.
Yeah. See, you're on point because I didn't realize there was a I want on the back end of that. I didn't write that down.
Oh yeah. You
So
gotta
anyway,
wanna really, really, really wanna zig a zig.
So recently, this week, I texted you that it's a yes universe. So whatever we're saying, whatever we're putting out there, it's like yes, yes, yes.
Oh!
We get more. So we got some readings to back this assertion up. What do we got?
We're going to kick it off with Catherine Ponder. If you want to get this book, it's called Dare to Prosper. I've been reading this book for 30-something years. Primarily because it's thin, big print, but most of all, you could just read a sentence in this book. You could fit it in your purse, your gym bag, your glove box.
Yes.
I used to take this book with me to the police department when I was in the military as a liaison, military police liaison.
And Catherine Ponder, we learned her teacher was Joseph Murphy from Michael Schoonover. Very interesting.
Yes.
We love Joseph Murphy.
So this is great. This is, if you have the book, it's on page 30. Substance obeys your thoughts. You ready, Ed?
Yes.
With every silent thought as well as with every spoken word, you are telling substance what to do. And it obediently carries out whatever beliefs you hold in mind about it. In your silent thoughts as well as in your spoken words, give your attention to the richness of substance. It will seem as though heaven and earth are working together to produce satisfying results for you.
You know, when you talked about the postcards, I realized like that's the best request because we are being what we want to see. We are being what we want to experience. There's nothing, I don't think there's any stronger request to the universe than to be that love to you know, and I've learned a lot about this from you. And I was thinking about yesterday, 2 days ago, I was just like in this my mind was in that like terrible teacher mode, which is like, these kids, they're all bothering me, and they're all reflecting it back to me. They're, like I'm thinking, I don't even like these kids. Why am I here? But I'm watching it at the same time, so it's like I'm not fully just like under the spell, but I am at the same time. So I was like, I gotta shift this around. And then I started feeling run down. And then, but I've learned from Ernest Holmes, anything related to sinuses, cold type feeling, it's all about disharmonious relationships. So even though I still have to convince myself to believe this, I was like, I gotta clean up wherever I'm feeling. I gotta drop my gripes with the school district, with my job. I gotta drop all of that with these kids. And so there's one particular group of kids, they're in 4th grade, and they're like starting to try to be the tough, cool guys, So one of them's trying to be nothing bothers him guy. I don't even care. The other guy's like the guy is going to tell you, And so...
Wait, I have all those guys that are in my head.
Yeah, they're all in my head too. So
different moments they tell me to act that way.
Yeah, so I'm turning into the teacher that's like, I was turning into the... guys, you should do this. You got it. What should you? And I was just like, this is horrible. I was watching myself.
You turned into Mrs. Spinelli.
Yeah, it was not good.
We used to call her Mrs. Spinelephant.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's Marion's last name, too. That's wild. So anyway, the next day I came in, and I was like, it's amazing. The rundownness, as soon as I started cleaning up that disharmonious feelings, my body responded quickly, because that was the other thing. That one day I was like, I didn't have any energy to give because I was so clamped off.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, here's that group, and I just at lunch I had written an affirmation about this particular group, and they're doing their thing, and then I find myself going, so and so, you should. And then I looked him in the eye and I said, I got to do something different. And I said, I'll call him. Why can't I think of good names? Frank. I said. And so I was about to say, Frank, you should, or whatever. Instead, I said, you know what, Frank? I appreciate you, and you're an amazing mathematician. This is really what I want from you. And his face changed, and he went right to work. Like he chuckled, it tickled his brain.
Yeah.
It was magic. He went to work. The whole group changed. The dynamic changed. I love the guys again. I love their goofiness. But it was me. That was my request to the universe. I want you. I'm going to give to you what I want you to give back to me.
Oh, my God.
This is just dawning on me now while you're talking, because this postcard thing is such a powerful example of that.
Yeah. Especially, I want to follow this, what we both say here with that Mary Kupferle, because that really cleans both of what we're saying. And I just want to say I had a similar experience. There's things going on, with our city council in my town that tend to get my what are those things, the hackles on the back?
Yeah, right.
And it's like, it's none of my business. It's none of my business.
Right.
But the only real solution, there's things going on in the neighborhood today where they're blocking off roads, and right away, I want to get
Right. So it's right there in your face.
And I start to feel constricted. I don't want to be that person.
Right.
So in my morning readings this morning, it was talking about just really seeing these people. It might have been a Catherine Ponder affirmation, matter of fact, that I keep in my book, all who offend me, I forgive.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I love that Ponder.
Things past, things future.
Yeah, past, present, and future. Yes, within and without.
And I love the word offend.
Yes.
Offend me.
Yes.
Because it really cuts to the chase. Because if we hear the word resentment, I'm not resentful, but I am offended. I can always admit I'm offended. Offend me. And then in another book I read, that's why we recommend doing a morning routine. It talked about seeing these people that disturb us in any way, filled with light and love and happiness.
Yeah.
And I felt it in that moment. I was like, it just felt so good, because if they're happy, everything's happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy, and everything harmonizes when I do this. Resist not. But I walked Gidget and I saw some things that brought that back.
Right.
So what if this little twinge of anger is there? How do you really bypass that and get to love? And this works perfect, folks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
and I heard this from a friend of mine who I suggested.
Yeah, we shared it on the show years ago. Yeah.
But I used it this morning.
Yeah.
I suggested for a friend who would easily get offended. to send love. So she came up with this, and it's great because if you still have that twinge of upsetness, it's kind of hard to override it. It's almost not healthy. It's like packing the musket.
It's not healthy. Let's be clear.
To say,
it is
I'm
not
gonna
healthy.
bless them, but I still have to. But this will get rid of the twinge of resentment and heal the situation, and it's this. And I'm just repeating what she told me, and I'm going to just say it to you as if she's saying it to you. She would imagine, and this morning I imagined that I have javelins of light and love. And I throw these javelins at these misfit toys that are offending me.
Yes.
So it's getting but then when it hits them, poof, all of a sudden they open up, remember who they really are, and they're like, wow, I feel great. And it really helps release that twinge of being offended by people.
Right.
Without me like pretending I'm a goody two-shoes, because I'm not. There's that piece, like there's that New Jersey mobster my father put in my head. It's like, you know?
Yeah.
But I can't live in that space like he could. Well, he couldn't either. He died at 40 from trying to live that way.
Right.
But imagine myself throwing the javelin of light. It gets rid of the offense in my brain, and then seeing it hit him.
Yeah.
Or even a situation, or the whole school district. You throw it, poof, and then all of a sudden it's like,
100%.
you know what I mean? Full of light and love, and the people are happy. They're going, wow, I love this school, or I love this place.
Yeah, you know, one of the things I'm having to release in my mind, and just of like being the guy who knows how it really should be and sits there and judges everyone for how it really. But there's another step, which is to become that.
Yes.
And that requires letting go and actually being that joyous presence. In this environment where I'm judging everyone else, like, why aren't they being it? I became the guy who stood on the sideline in a way, because I had this, like, I always, you know, like you, like we kind of always had this sort of intuitive thing, connection. But it's another thing. This is our salvation for Darrell and Ed, is releasing all of that and giving into the flow of divine love coming through us, and being like, this is, it's so cool to realize the ultimate way to request what we want from the universe is to go out and be it.
Yes.
And it will come to us.
And give it. Because even now I started to think, like, it could be a situation. Like, there's a festival in my neighborhood. It blocked off all the roads to my
on
home.
Show day, no less.
On show day, except for one little egress, you know.
Yeah.
And anytime the moment of, I just throw this like sphere, and it hits the place with love. And the amazing part is, I feel release of it. And now I'm starting to, like, look forward to this festival, which, you know, a few hours ago, if you asked me about the festival.
Oh, yeah. Not good. Not good. All right, let's wrap up this segment because we want to get Cathy Norman in here. I'm going to read from Mary Kupferle's book, God Will See You Through. Greg Barrett was actually close friends with Mary Kupferle, we learned, right? That was Mary Kupferle he was talking about?
Yes.
Yes. We heard that on last week's show. So tune into that one. In the meanwhile, she says on page 64, a friend said recently, I used to spend my time asking why. Why is this difficult thing come into my life?
Yes, that's what we're talking about, folks.
Now, even though a challenge may take time and patience for its outworking, I put all the energy of my thought and feeling into the words, thank you, God. Sometimes I need to say them 100 times a day to keep myself up and on the beam. As a result, I have an inner peace and freedom that amaze me.
Yes.
Good is happening and daily demonstrations are evident.
Yes.
Charles Fillmore writes, the highest form of prayer is to open our mind and quietly realize that the one omnipresent intelligence knows our thoughts and instantly answers even before we have audibly expressed our desires. This being true, we should ask and at the same time give thanks that we have already received. Begin this process now so that miracles can flow into your life and affairs. Say, thank you, God, when even a little light dawns or a small degree of understanding comes through.
Yes.
Say it in the face of apparent setback or disappointment. Establish through thanksgiving the habit of closeness to your Heavenly Father, no matter what the condition or circumstance. Continue to say, thank you, God, when things go your way, or if they do not. Follow the advice of the psalmist. Praise the Lord. Praise Him in His mighty firmament. And let thanksgiving become the predominant characteristic of your disposition and your day. And if you don't, if you don't like this idea of the Lord, remember, it's law. You're praising that the law
is in effect.
The principle that governs life. You're giving thanks that the truth is that it's ever increasing good. That as soon as you get into the harmonious flow, your health, your relationships, your finances, everything has to get better.
Yes.
It's the nature of life to do this. So I love it. Thank you, God. All right. Thank you, Mary Cufferly, too, for being with us today. Coming up next, Unity Spice Girl and amazing minister from Unity of Santa Barbara. I highly recommend checking out their YouTube and
please,
their Facebook
folks,
page.
You will not be disappointed.
Cathy Norman will spice things up with today's Daily Word Thoughts. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. All right, welcome back to Funniest Thing. My name's Ed. That's Darrell over there. Today's show is just tell me what you want, what you really, really want. In a moment, we're going to bring in the ultimate Spice Girl, Unity minister from Unity of Santa Barbara. Her name's Cathy Jean Norman. But first,
yeah, in case anyone didn't know, those the three breaths, those 5 metaphysical women that I was speaking of, and there were 5, were actually they all had the same last name.
Mm-hmm.
They called themselves the Spice Girls.
Yes. You can look them up. They have some things online.
Great stuff.
Will you
online.
read that book, for crying out loud? We got to get Cathy in here.
Excuse me for being excited.
Thank you for being a friend.
If that's what you call friendship. Okay, you ready?
Oh, keep punching, as Stallone would say. Which is not good advice, by the way.
I know, he gives that advice to his friends. Keep punching.
If you look on Instagram and you watch Stallone's page, every time at the end he says, keep punching. But we've come to realize that's like the worst advice.
Yeah.
If you're punching, meditate, take a walk, but do not keep punching.
No, that's called leading. in prize fighting, that's known as leading with the chin.
Although if you're punching with javelins of love, that's one thing. Let's switch over to that. All right, go ahead. What do you got?
Okay, so this is from a book. We mentioned this a few episodes back. It's called It Works by R.H.J. You could probably find it easier online if you're looking for it by typing in the famous little red book. It's been around, I think, since 1927.
It'll come up on Amazon real well.
It's short. It's tiny, and it's this thing is a great metaphysical firecracker.
Yeah.
And in it shares this. I'm going to read it. When you train your objective mind, the mind you use every day, to decide definitely upon the things or conditions you desire, you will have taken your first big step in accomplishing or securing what you know you want. To get what you want is no more mysterious or uncertain than the radio waves all around you. Tune in correctly, and you get a perfect result. You have within you a mighty power, anxious and willing to serve you, a power capable of giving you that which you earnestly desire. This power is described by Thomas J. Hudson, Ph.D., author of The Law of Psychic Phenomena, as your subjective mind. Other learned writers use different names and terms, but all agree that it is omnipotent. Therefore, I call this power Emmanuel, God in us. Regardless of the name of this great power or the conscious admission of a God, the power is capable and willing to carry to a complete and perfect conclusion every earnest desire of your objective mind. But you must be really in earnest about what you want. Yes. Occasional wishing or half-hearted wanting does not form a perfect connection or communication with your omnipotent power. You must be in earnest, sincerely and truthfully desiring certain conditions or things, mental, physical, or spiritual, and they will come to pass.
Mm-hmm. The good news is, and we talk about this a lot, with regards to why we love unity,
yes,
is this is not a high pressure system. You don't want to create even more pressure by thinking, oh, I got to do this all the time.
No.
Sometimes it's just as valuable to sit in and say, there's a loving God within me that knows exactly what I want, and all I really have to do is relax and trust. It's all about like getting in the flow with the good.
Yes.
So,
Let me just make it real simple for anyone who gets freaked out and thinks, I'm not thinking this all the time like Darrell and Ed. We don't think it all the time. The key to it, it's that Bible verse, 2 words that sum it up that Jesus said perfectly.
right.
Only believe. Only believe that God is working, arranging things on your behalf. I often affirm God is renewing my mind and improving my circumstances.
Yes.
Only believe in that. And then the things you do want, you really, really want, you could delight in the joy of having them already. But it shouldn't become, as Florence Scovel Shinn says, a hardship in your desiring.
No, that's right.
It should always be this fun thought you have, and you could allow it to float through your brain at different parts of the day. But overall, just know that you don't have to will it to be. You only have to believe that God is bringing it about, even in spite of your doubts.
Yeah, and God is life. So, and Fillmore and Butterworth say, stop trying so hard to get it and just let it. All right, so we want to welcome someone who inspires us, who has really been a part of like the up-leveling of the show and of our outlook on life. And as soon as we walked into Unity of Santa Barbara, all the things that we'd been desiring in terms of a place to come together and actually feel the light and the love and the joy of living these principles was there. It's just amazing. Everything, we talked about it before. So with no further ado, welcome Cathy Jean Norman. How are you?
I'm good. I love you guys.
Oh, we love you too. We really recommend checking out the YouTube show so you can see Cathy's beautiful face, and also her shirt says blessed. Yes.
I tried to match you guys, and then you didn't come on with your T-shirts.
Well, it's your turn today.
Wait, funniest thing, this goes perfect with my javelin. I have a little, if you're not watching, I have a little puppy on my shirt, but he's holding a grenade launcher.
Yes. Yes.
And I want to say, I love that image of the javelins of light and love. That I know that works. I've never done that before, but I love the example. And I think it's something that is so easy. That's what's so great about the unity principles. They're easy.
Yes.
Easy to do, and they work if you work them.
Yeah. If you just give them a try.
Yeah, well, we shared how you used those javelins of light when we were at your service that time, and there's that woman in the back who stood up and had her own sermon to give. And you just kept saying, thank you. I don't know if do you recall this?
I do.
Yeah. But you really embodied this whole thing the way you, do you remember like what you were thinking in that moment? Because just to set it up, we were just there and we were so excited and everyone's smiling. There's one woman in the back dressed very colorfully, but I had already made eye contact with this person, and I was like, I almost got like a shiver down my spine, because it was like not love, joy coming out. I don't know what that energy was. And then everything
we found out.
Yeah, and so this person was sitting in the back and then stood up and started giving her own kind of sermon, right? So do you remember what were you thinking in that moment?
Yeah, because I saw her walk in the back, and she's holding the Bible like this. And I nowadays you don't know what people are thinking, and what they're going to be doing. So there was a moment of fear. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. I mean, it was all instant thoughts.
Yes.
I thought, wait a minute. I'm talking about the 5th dimension. And if I meet her where she's at in the 3rd dimension, then we're going to have a problem here.
Yeah.
And so that's why she just kept saying, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, friend. And I thought, I'm not going to meet her where she's at. She would love that.
Wow.
And then I said, okay, everyone, let's give her a hand.
Yes.
I don't think anyone was. I mean, but it disrupted the energy when we started clapping. And truly, I channeled that because I would not have really, if I came from the third dimension, I
Yeah.
really would not have
Right.
known how to handle that whole situation. And she left.
She left peacefully.
When I sat
Yeah.
down, my co-minister Temple said, "Wow, did you have a plant? Did you plant that?" Perfectly with the sermon, and I said, "No,
Right.
I didn't." But we sent her off with love. So yeah, you're right. Little did I know that that's what we were doing was, sending javelins of light to her, and hopefully we made a difference in her life.
Yeah, and also you were telling God what you want. You embodied the energy that you wanted. You brought that energy, and that energy just transformed any darkness that was present. So that goes right along with this show. Just tell me what you want, what you really, really want. You're telling the universe, I want unconditional love that flows regardless of what's in front of me.
Yeah, I just want to make our audience aware that the lady was very loud and talking very volatile things. However, after the whole thanking, it wasn't like she was escorted screaming and yelling out the door. She became quiet and peacefully left. That was the mind blower, folks. This wasn't like,
wow, that's amazing.
Just like,
yeah,
okay, let's give her a round of applause. And as she's screaming, the bouncers are throwing her out the door.
No.
That's not what happened. Like, it was a very peaceful, there
was a sincerity
and dissolved, and that was the remarkable portion of the show, folks.
And I think it came from your sincerity, right?
Yeah.
You weren't mocking her. You were really tapping into that divine energy.
Absolutely. And afterwards I thought, what would it have been like if I just said, come forward. Let's have a conversation. What is it that you want to say? And I've often thought about that. I don't know if I would have done that, but because, we had other things that needed to be done. But, sometimes you just invite in with love instead of push out.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that if I become resistant, then they become my master.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you did dismiss it with love.
Yes.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you just said, I hear that phrase that you just said, if I resist it, it becomes my master.
Yes.
That's like what I said with my transformation around school. I was resisting so much, and it was becoming my master. And all of a sudden, I had nothing to give, and I literally had no creative energy. So I really like that. And what I resist becomes my master.
Yeah, you give your power away. And there was a gal in my ministerial school class, and I forgot her name, but anyway, she would always say, when you give your power away, it's just so unattractive. And I thought, I don't want to be unattractive. I don't want to be the victim that feels so unattractive. It's just unattractive.
100%.
Yeah, and it literally unattractive in the spiritual sense. We neutralize our magnetism towards anything. We're just unattractive, like a magnet who's lost its charge.
Love that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You don't attract.
It's just
you're unattracting.
Yeah,
just
like
that.
poof. I've lost all the electricity. The electromagnetic energy just goes blip.
I would bet even electromagnetically we repel our good at that point, because it's almost like the magnet gets flipped around, right? We flip the magnet around, and the other side is facing and is pushing everything away.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. Okay. My next sermon will be around being unattractive.
Yes. Attractive versus unattractive.
Yes.
Exactly. That's so good.
Yeah.
I wanted to share with you guys. So I found something that you might be interested in when you have resentments and all that. When people feel like they've betrayed you or whatever. I found something from Emerson. And so he said, whenever that something seems to have been either taken from you, or you feel betrayed, or something stolen or lost or whatever, you place it in the invisible bank of the universe with your name on it, bearing interest.
Oh, wow.
Don't you love that? And so you open up for it to come back to you. And so you just say, I now place all my money, time, and equity from wherever it is, and it's just bearing interest coming back to you.
Well, you know what? It's bearing interest during the show because for some reason I'm starting to slowly get excited to, after the show, quickly scurry back to our side of the hill and go to that art festival, which is not the same person I was 3 hours ago.
You even used some weird French word to describe how you got out of your neighborhood. What was that?
I used a French word.
Do you remember that, Indy? He said there was a little esquee that I got out of the neighborhood. Yeah, you said, so we'll have to listen back.
Oh, egress.
Oh, what's an egress, by the way?
An egress is, you haven't been in the military too long. It's like an emergency exit.
Oh, an egress.
We got to have an egress.
Okay.
Guys, always remember your point of egress. What?
All right. All right.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast, Sergeant.
Oh, my gosh.
Egress?
All right, so we've digressed. Cathy, do you want to read the daily word that we sent your way?
I would love to.
Hey, isn't this funny, by the way, that one of your friends particularly did not like this daily word? And I was like, funniest thing, that's the one you're going to be reading tomorrow.
That was really weird because your text message got lost in my, because I'm on a prayer text thing, and so it kept dinging, and I thought, I got to silence my phone. So you snuck a text in there that I didn't even know, and it was the daily word lesson. So then this one gal that she texted me, and she said that she had a real problem with the daily word lesson. I thought, I wonder what that was.
Yeah.
I texted you. Do you guys know what the daily word lesson was? You had already sent it to me.
It's amazing.
Well, you know what? My little thought on this was maybe people have gotten so comfortable with the milquetoast style of spiritual presentation that when it's finally something that is unapologetically truthful and affirmative, so I know it from my own, when people were trying to encourage me, and not give me any wiggle room to be a victim, I did not like it. But it was the best thing for me at the time, and it got me here today.
Right.
So I'm starting to think, how things tend to get watered down or just diluted a little. Even in the daily words, sometimes we'll read them and go, that was like eating a stale piece of bread. But today's, I was like, whoa. Yeah,
I highlighted, if you're watching on YouTube, I literally highlighted every line, which I don't, I rarely do. But I just kept highlighting away. So
I thought that might be what happened. Who knows? But
who knows? But I think it's brilliant.
Yes.
I thought it was really good, and it's perfect for today.
Yes.
What do you really, really want?
There you go. So let's hear it.
All right. So the word is thoughts. And the affirmation, positive thoughts lead to abundant living. My thoughts give me the power to change my life. This creative power is an awesome responsibility and my greatest freedom. To live with abundant joy and love, I keep my thoughts positive and affirmative. I believe in the good within and all around me and think and speak of it often. I lift up those around me with thoughts and words of positivity and appreciation. I think positively of myself, forgiving my missteps, and frequently affirming my divine qualities. I focus on the good, the possible, the beautiful, and the kindness I encounter in life. As I concentrate my thoughts, I fill my consciousness with all the good ideas and trust they will manifest as all manner of abundant blessings. And that was inspired by Proverbs 1:23. I will pour out my thoughts to you, and I will make my words known to you. And so it is.
Yes.
Very well done, my friends.
You know, when you really apply this
Yes.
reading and try to do your best to live along these lines, even for a few moments each day, you'll experience what Joel Osteen said just the other day, which is you'll be stumbling into God's blessings. Things will just seem to correspond. You'll just stumble into God's blessings. If you think you're going to be late for an appointment, it's because, holy cow, I met the person, the golden link in the chain of my good. Or, you know what I mean? It just becomes a day of those experiences when we apply this particular reading to my thinking. When I do it, I always get evidence of it working. And the great news is, even if I stop doing it and I'm cursing things for a while, the instant I get back on track and start reaffirming, God doesn't punish. Life never punishes you.
That's right.
You know, when I cut my hand, my body doesn't go, "You idiot, I'm not going to heal." Like it heals in spite of the mistakes I make.
Right.
So it instantly comes again, all forgiving, all loving, and once again, I'm back on track and like, hallelujah. Thank God I was willing to change my mind about this.
Yeah.
And it just takes a shift.
Yeah.
It's just a shift. You know, like you did the other day, Ed, you know, you shifted. And once you shift, then like you said, it's like the miraculous happens.
It's
constantly.
incredible.
Yeah, you know, another experience with a student that day, there's a little guy, he's in fourth grade also, but he's like kind of more developmentally, like literally like a 3-year-old emotional development. And I had him and another guy in a group, and typically the other guy's not much older, mature wise. So, but this kid was so feisty, and he's like sticking. Oh no, I'm not gonna do it. No. And then the best I could do is I was, instead of getting mad, I told him, I'm starting to feel like I'm going to use that loud, scary voice. Do you want that voice? Like, I need your help, kind of like. And he was just like, he took off. At some point, he took off running from my classroom. He comes to me to do small groups, but I'm going back to my class. And I had one student here and another, he's running, and I have no other help. So I walked out with him, and then I was like, I found myself almost running after him. And then I said, I'm not doing that. I let go because I had made this pledge I'm going the mystical path completely today because I know these laws work, right? So because he's playing off of this fear of me feeling victimized, and you know, like, so as soon as I looked him in the eye, I showed him the true way I was feeling at that moment, but I just said, I blessed him on his way because I had to handle the kid. I had to attend. At least he was headed toward a room with students, right? So, with a teacher. So I went back in. I started just working with the other kid, figuring out what I was going to do. And lo and behold, like a moment later, before I could even think, he came back into the room, did the work on his own that I had been asking him to do. And then the less I resisted, he ended up completing all of the work, even more than I anticipated he would do. The principal walked in at the perfect moment. What are these boys doing? So I was able to say, so-and-so just did their work. Let him show you. And so he got this reinforced thing. And it's so funny because when I was feeling stressed, I swear the principal kept coming by at these moments where it looked so chaotic and bad. And I just kept blessing it, going, okay, no, I can't like feel like I got to stop judging myself. I got to get out of this mentality because this is what, like, I'm getting all this feedback. And at that moment, she came in and the kids showed her the work they had just done, and it turned into the whole thing transformed. But I had to take that leap of faith to just let him go, trust, and on his own he can't. Like, how do you explain this? You know, like just in the traditional sense, it's just pure mysticism, but it's truth. It's divine principle. And it always works.
It doesn't take very much. Have you guys ever seen a mustard seed?
Tiny, right?
It's like teeny. And when I first saw a mustard seed, when Jesus said, have faith like all you need is just a mustard seed of faith,
right? And
everything will shift. And that's exactly, you just relax. You didn't have to believe
No.
completely in it,
Right.
but you did.
Right.
You had trust that that it was going to happen, and you
Right.
just needed a little mustard seed full of
Right.
faith in that way.
Well, because what happens when I'm resisting, I'm putting the whole weight of my mentality on stopping the good from coming. So it doesn't take
Yeah.
much of an opening for it all, just like letting go of when you're holding onto a balloon that's full of. It doesn't take long for it to just start flowing again. It doesn't seem rationally in those moments, because in those moments my rational mind is so caught up in fear that it's not even, it's blind. So I really have, that's where faith comes in, to take that moment to surrender, let go of all those fears that can seem like loud, and they can even be institutionalized in the way the schools do things, but they're not real. And so it doesn't take much. So I like that idea of, we could just if I could just convince myself, just give it a shot. Let's take a minute. Let's take 3 minutes of faith. Let's just see what happens if I can change my mind for that long.
I love that, because it's like giving up. It's like I get to those moments where I say, I give up. And that means the willful human me is finally going to give up. And as soon as we do, then all of a sudden, magic. It's like, it seems so contradictory to being the solution.
Right.
And it's always the solution, especially in life and death situations.
Right.
It definitely is the solution.
Right.
If you're drowning, the best thing to do is give up. That's what they taught us in the Coast Guard.
Right.
If you start drowning or you're getting pulled under or whatever in an undertow situation, you got to just give up. Because if you give up, the ocean and the water will naturally bring you to the surface.
Yeah.
If you fight the current or try to, that's why we would have to calm the victim down. That was like the number one thing. Don't go in feet first. You'd be like 10 feet away.
Right.
I'm here to help you. Just relax.
Yeah.
And we're going to be fine.
Right.
Relax.
Right.
You'll float. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Because
I
they did this one test. They made us tread water, because you tread water to keep afloat.
Right.
And they go, okay, blows the whistle. Start treading water. We're treading water. Listen, folks, try treading water for 5 minutes, even 10 minutes. We all start going under, and we think we're supposed to keep treading. Finally, beep. And now he teaches us how we could survive for hours and days. And it's called the dead man's float. And you could float forever just by relaxing. The whole thing is relax, breathe, and all of a sudden your lungs fill up and you just relax. And your back will just be on the surface and your body hangs. And then when you feel the need to, it's like meditation. Feel the need to breathe, just bring up your head. Relax.
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
What a fantastic example of really how life should be.
Right.
Because all pain is born out of resistance.
Yeah.
All pain is born out of, it's got to be this way.
Yeah.
God
And it doesn't need
yeah.
to be that. That's such a great example, Darrell.
Yeah, I would remind myself when in situations, God doesn't panic. Okay, I gotta stop panicking.
Yeah.
God does not panic.
That's the whole gist of what Taoism really is about going in the flow. Like that, the Tao is similar to what we would call divine principle. It's always moving us in a positive direction. And that's like surfing as well. For one, my mom used to be really good at floating on her back on the pool. I never understood how she did
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. This is like floating with your back.
But
You're not on your back.
Yeah.
But you're.
No, but I'm saying for
Yeah.
some reason my mom would just float like that too. But anyway, but with surfing, like if you go over the falls on a big wave, the tendency in your mind is you think you're like in the hands of some some really negative thing, but it's the same thing. If once you've done it enough times, you realize you're going to float back up. So it's all about like relaxing. You're like doing cartwheels underwater, but if you've done it enough times, you just know you're going to pop up.
You're going to pop up.
Because if you haven't done it enough times, your mind's telling you, I'll never pop up. What if I don't? And those are the nightmares. I mean, the other day when I went to surf this place, it's a very small place. There's usually not a lot of people. There's too many people there, and there weren't enough waves. So I paddled like 1/8 of a mile to this one little spot I'd never surfed. There was no one out, and the waves suddenly got quite good there. And but I didn't know about the rocks. Because I didn't have anyone with me. I never surfed there. I could see boulders when I was going down the line on the wave. So I had to really just relax and breathe. And I got into like the whole flow of how it took me to this wave, and this wave just got really good. It was just me and these like $25 million homes on the cliff, and this magical thing came, and then on one wave I got pushed really far on the inside, and that turns out where the rocks were. But I was so relaxed that somehow at one point a wave took me, and I was laying on my back, and I literally slid over like a rock shelf just on my back. But it reminded me of the same thing. Like I couldn't have planned. If I had been stressing, struggling, worried, or afraid,
You would have banged your head.
yeah, I would have.
Wow.
I wondered if the rump of my wetsuit was still intact, because I literally got like just floated across this rock shelf. It was crazy. But I was so in the flow, because even the paddle over there, I paddled a real long ways. It didn't feel like it took very long. And the waves turned on right when I got there. And when we're in the flow, that's how it is. We just have to
Give up.
and trust that the flow is taking us in the direction of our good, because it is. Because what isn't it that any quote traumatic or bad experiences we have, when we look back, I always see it was how it was my struggle that kept me there, how it was the struggle that really intensified the pain. You know, the me personalizing and thinking I had to do all this. All that fighting I was doing was what was pulling it closer to me instead of letting it go.
Exactly. And in that letting go, you got to see how divinely protected you are.
Yeah.
Always.
If you feel like you're doing it yourself, there's fear, and then you're not as protected.
Yeah.
No.
But you're just divinely protected if you just let it go. There's something bigger than whatever's going on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't serve two masters. So like you said, if we're resisting the bad stuff or whatever we think is bad, is the same thing as worshiping it, because all of our attention is on it. And that's why that becomes our master. And then then we end up resisting our good in the process. But if we surrender to our good and just say, all right, whatever's going to happen with that other thing is just going to happen, but I'm going to stay in this loving space, amazing things always transpire. All right, so this show has amazingly transpired. Cathy, you want to share anything else before you get going?
No, I love it. I've learned a lot from you guys today.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing
As
your
always.
love. Yes.
That's why I love her, folks. I'm not afraid to say it.
Well, visit.
I love it. I love both of you.
Thank you.
We highly recommend visiting Unity of Santa Barbara.
Yes.
Please tell Temple that we love her and appreciate her as well.
Absolutely.
And
I will.
Before you go, we got a little story here.
Yeah.
You might have actually heard the story, but you might not have known that you were a part of it. Let's see. So
yes, TMZ from Santa Barbara sent us this.
That's right. So Cathy G. Norman has always been considerate of others, very considerate. You know, the type of person who looks out for people. And even as a young girl in elementary school, she was thinking about ways to be of service to her peers.
Wow.
Yeah, one day in the cafeteria line, there's a big bowl of apples on the end of the table there. Lunch lady had placed a note on the bowl that read, "Take only one, for God is watching."
Take only one, God is watching. Yeah, that makes sense.
So just take one, right?
Yes,
don't
because
become
God is
Little
watching.
guy, grab all the apples.
Just take one. God's watching, for crying out loud. At the other end of this long table, there's a bowl of chocolate chip cookies. You know, being the loving person she was, Cathy turned to her friends, pointed to the big bowl of chocolate chip cookies, and whispered,
Take all you want. God's watching the apples.
"Oh,
I
boy.
remember that day.
I thought so." All right.
Oh, look who's back.
The Spice Girls are back.
Yes, scary, sporty, posh, ginger, and Baby Spice.
You guys gonna sing us out today?
Yes. Oh wait, I don't know how they speak in British.
All right.
I don't know a British accent. Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really
What I
want.
really, really want.
So tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
I wanna really, really, really want a zig-a-zag. Ah.
And I wanna be
Visit Darrell and Ed.
Cathy Norman, we love you.
To find easy links to everything we
Jeff
do.
Comfort.
Thanks for being a
Indy.
part of Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna really, really, really wanna zig a zig. Ah! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo!